I hit my first 10K month with my agency. The only thing I did was fix my show rate. And the best part, I didn't have to book more calls, do more outreach, do any extra work. In fact, I probably worked less. In this video, I'm sharing my exact process from how to frame the call, the exact messages to send, and how to actually make sure your prospect is excited to actually jump on the call with you. So let me break it all down so you can copy it and do the same. So I put together this crazy Miro board for y'all. So basically how to book the call, post setting the call, follow up, night before, morning of, like literally everything, so you guys can go copy paste it. And if you want this entire Miro board or have any questions, DM me on Instagram at noah.help. Now, starting off with actually booking the call. So what a lot of people don't take into account is the show rate. A lot of it is how you actually book the call, how you frame the call, which leads me into the first part, is framing the call. So this is probably obvious. I'm starting out like easy and then going down and more complicated as we go, but you don't want to frame it as just a typical sales call. Hey, let's go, we're going to book a sales call, right? You're not obviously going to say that, but the context you put around it, yeah, you're just going to ask you a couple questions about the business to see if it is a good fit. Like, yeah, that just sounds like a sales call. So the way you frame it is so important, because that's going to determine if they, number one, even like want to show up in the first place. So you need to frame it as more of like a strategy call, a custom roadmap. I like this one a lot because you're mentioning like it's custom for them. It's a roadmap, and it's like you're helping them get from point A to point B on the call, which point B is obviously the solution to that is your service, or like you can do a demo call, but you just don't want to frame it as just a typical sales call, like all the people that reach out to them will try to sell them on, right? So framing the call is the first thing before you ever even get them to book in the first place. Now, after that, booking within 24 to 48 hours max. I've seen my show rate goes under 30% for more than 2 days out. So if it's a Monday, you're booking someone for Friday, the chances they show up are extremely, extremely low. And ideally, you want to book them same day. Because if you can book someone same day, the show rate on that's like 90% from my experience. So if you call them in the morning, book them in the afternoon, or even jump on the call then, that is the most ideal. But just know the closest you can get to the date that you're booking them in, the best. So it should look like this. If today is Tuesday the 2nd, you should book them for either the 3rd or the 4th. None of these other days unless they absolutely need to, but just know every day you go out, your show rate's going to decrease more and more. Let me make this, it's a little too thick. So ideally, you just want to get them booked in as close as possible. This is ideal, ideally same day. Worst case, you book it the next day or the day after that, at the absolute latest. But you always want to book as close to the call as possible. If you book like a week out, the show rate is legit like 15% from my experience, no matter what you do. So like you could have all this other stuff in the world, which is what I'm going to show you. But if you book more than 2-3 days out, just none of it's going to matter. Along with that, you want to avoid the bad slots. So Monday mornings and Friday afternoons are terrible. So I just block these out completely. You don't want to book someone right here. You don't want to book someone right here, because right here, they just got done with the weekend. They're just like chilling, especially these business owners. A lot of them don't take their business that seriously. Now, that's not all of them, but some of them, like they just want to have a nice slow start to the week. They just don't care. And they just honestly just don't care enough to take a call with you, right? So you need to make sure you're having you're accommodating to their schedule and making something that actually is not like a terrible time for them. So I never, if they want to book Monday morning, I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything Monday morning. Let's do like Monday afternoon. But I always avoid those slots. You want to avoid typically 8 to 11 a.m. Monday, and then anytime after 2 to 3-ish on Fridays. You just want to avoid those. After that, after you actually pick the time, you get a double commitment. So, hey, just to make sure, John, is there any possible reason, I know like stuff comes up, is there any reason that you wouldn't be able to make like our 3 o'clock tomorrow? No, I'll be there. And this way, you're getting a double commitment. You're getting a tie down. It's just like on sales calls, when you're tying them down, you always want to get the double commitment. So do you feel good about the process? Yeah. I guess what part do you like about it specifically? And you're getting them to basically tell you again what they like about it. It's the same thing here. Getting them to go on their word twice, saying, yeah, I'm going to be there 2 times is a massive commitment, because I think it's the consistency bias. And that's a psychology principle, is people, when they say something, they feel like they have to go through with it. That's why people don't like going back on their word, or at least most people don't. Some of you guys are crazy, but getting that double commitment. And this is before we ever get off that first call. So when you're setting call or the cold call, whatever it may be, getting all of these, but this is before you ever get off the call with them. And then this is something a lot of people don't do, but have them actually add it to their calendar on the call. Okay, so John, I'm going to send over the invite now. What's the best email? Got it. Well, I just sent over the invite to your email right now. Can you just double check? Let me know if you got it. Yeah, I got it. Okay, sick. Can you just go and add it on there, and I can let you know if I get it? Okay, awesome. Just saw you add it on there. Cool. and then you get them to literally add it to their calendar on the call. Part of the reason your calls aren't showing up is because they literally just don't have it on their calendar. So if you walk them through, send them the invite on the call, and literally get them to add it to their calendar on the call with you, get the confirmation again. That they're getting the confirmation is so important because they're subconsciously just committing to it again, getting their confirmation, getting them to add it, and that way they actually have it literally blocked off on their calendar. If something's on someone's calendar, like the odds that they say, oh, I'm just gonna not do this, is very low, because a lot of people have OCD, including me, and I'm like, dude, if something's on my calendar, I'm gonna do it, right? And it's that simple. Now, last, this is kind of a bonus, is just the title of your call. So you should make them excited for the call just by reading the calendar invite. You don't want to do just something like, hey, Ty and Noah helped. Like, I do that for some of mine because honestly, for some people who book on my calendar, but for like when I work with for my marketing agency, I always do something a lot more custom, like, hey, one-on-one scale call, one-on-one listing acquisition system, or something like that that actually gets them excited, builds up curiosity, and helps them actually remember what the call is about. Because if you book them in and they just see this, they're like, who the heck is this Noah guy? I vaguely remember, but I have no clue what it's about. So I don't really, it feels like it's going to waste my time, so I'm not going to be there. But just adding something super simple like this, like, oh yeah, that's what we talked about. You ideally want to keep it focus on the dream outcome. So for like roofers or contractors, the dream outcome is getting jobs. So you can name it something like AI job acquisition or Facebook job acquisition, something like that. So they know, okay, this is about me getting jobs. This is what I want. I need to make more money. And like for realtors, it's like listings, right? Realtors want deals, listings. So you do like deal acquisition system, listing acquisition system, something like that. So they know and can see, okay, this is what the call is about, literally just by glancing at it on their calendar. Because again, you have them add it on their calendar. Now you want to make sure that the invite is actually like makes sense. That actually it's like hyping you up for the call. So that's the first part. And this is honestly a huge part of it. This is going to be about 80% of it. And this is what a lot of people skimp out on, is they just want to see this, like the follow-up sequence of some sexy texting script. But really, like, the way you frame it is the most important part. That's how I'm getting like a 75-80% show rate from cold outbound by doing this, is because the way I frame the call. Now, after that, this is after, like right after the call. I always want to send a personalized confirmation right after, but I'm not saying, hey, your meeting's confirmed, I'm looking forward to it, right? That's just the same generic stuff that everyone can do, especially in today's day and age when there's so many people running marketing agencies, especially with AI, is like everything's generic. So if you send something like this, it just looks so fake. So what you want to do instead, and this goes with how you frame it, hey, Name just booked us in, just got us locked in for 3 p.m. tomorrow. I'm gonna prep some ideas specific to your market before we chat. And you see right here, I'm gonna prep some ideas specific to your market before we chat. And this is what I started adding, but you basically let them know, hey, I'm gonna be doing some legwork on my end to research for our call because I'm looking forward to it, to make it as custom as possible for you. And that's the frame you want. And the prospect thinks, okay, this guy is actually putting in the work. It's not just a sales call. He's actually doing research. And if someone books with you and you find out this person's putting in work and actually researching, you're going to feel awful if you no-show on them. You know what I mean? But I started doing this and my show rate went up substantially just by making it look like I'm actually customizing the plan to them. I'm doing research on them and everything in specific, because people love that. And I know the people who've closed me, who've sold me, this is a tip for some of you guys. I don't want you guys all in my DMs, especially like the editors, video editors. Anyways, it's the people who send like personalized stuff. I'm always so much more inclined to respond because I can tell they actually put in the work. And it's the same thing here. And then bonus, if you have some case studies, you want to add those in there just for that social proof. And then also and then you'd say, hey, this, and then you would add, and I want to send you over John, who closed 3 deals in our first 45 days working together using our system, and then also Casey, who closed a deal in our first 15 days and stuff like that, just so they can see, okay, this person they have results, they're trustworthy, and they're customizing it to me. That's like a win-win. This is like a bonus right here, but this is going to do a lot of it is some ideas specific to your market. Make it seem custom to them. And you want to do this over text and email. So you want to send it obviously shorter form via text, because people don't send paragraphs on text, and then email, send it how people actually write emails. But you just want to do something super similar to this. And this is right after the call. And again, if you want this entire My Reward, have any questions, DM me on Instagram. It's in the description. The third part is having strategic reminders. Now, I say strategic, I don't say just automated Calendly reminders. You know what I mean? Hey, reminder, your call is coming in 24 hours. That's the most boring thing ever. If I see that, I'm 100% going to no-show. That's what a lot of people do, is they just give these like reminders that just look super automated. So what you're going to do is this email nurture sequence. So you're going to send it once they book, which is this one right here. This is the initial one when they book. You can do 24 hours before, 12 hours, and then 2 hours before. for, or at least this is the cadence that I like specifically. What the whole point of these emails is social proof and value based. So you want to do basically anything except, hey, this is just a friendly reminder for a call tomorrow, is basically what you don't want to do. So if you have social proof, you want to go add that in there, maybe tell a little story like, hey, here's how Terry closed got 3 extra jobs in our first 3 months working together by implementing this system. And you can have like a video on there. You can tell a little story, or you can just give like value. So I know a lot of other marketing agencies do this. That's why they get low quality leads. That's why we actually took feedback from roofers in the space and actually started pre-qualifying the leads before we book them on. But you're just like getting them excited for their call. That's a big part of it, is you're framing it where you're building curiosity with the prospect. So that's the email sequence right there. This is where all of pretty much the meat or the sauce is. And you're going to pair that with text, the same 24 hours, 12 hours, 2 hours. But the goal of these texts is simply just to make sure that they got your email and they open your email. Because the open rate for text is like 98%, and the open rate for emails is a lot lower because not as many people check their email or goes to spam. Well, basically, when you send an email, you want to send a simple text saying, hey, John, just sent you an email now about how Terry got 3 new jobs in our first month using our new UGC ad strategy. Really looking forward to our call tomorrow. I think you'll love what we'll go through. You can add, hey, I'm also doing some extra research on your market before then. You can also ask a question like, hey, do you mainly work? What's the average price per job that you do? But just make it look like you're customizing it to them. But the whole goal of this is to get them to open this. And it's just that simple. And again, always just the way you frame the call. Now, I know I'm kind of going through like a lot of stuff here, but it is like all like really important. Just to kind of recap again. You're sending out these social proof, value-based emails. Again, anything except, hey, this is just a reminder for a call. And then you're sending text with those, but the whole point of the text is just getting them to open those emails. And then it's also you can say, hey, I'm looking forward to our call tomorrow. So it serves as a reminder as well. It just does that automatically. Now, after we have that, after we book the call, right after our initial message, we have the strategic reminders the night of or the night before / morning of. And this is the biggest lever you can pull. This is the most important part by far. If you don't do any of this stuff besides one thing, I would 100% pick this along with this though. This is like the no-brainer how you need to do it. But if you do one thing, you're going to do this one. Basically, you want them to verbally tell you that they're going to be there. You need that verbal commitment with them again. So once they verbally tell you they'll be there, I've had like a 90% show up rate. When you call them the night before or the morning of, and they say, yes, I'm going to be there, then 90% are going to show up, even higher than that. So basically, it's just going to be something super simple. You're just trying to make sure they're alive and get that commitment. So you're saying, basically, you call them, they pick up, hey, just doing some research on your area. Again, framing it, doing some research on your area. Make it seem like we're putting in the work, where they're going to feel sucky if they say, oh yeah, I'm not going to be there. After you frame the call, you did all this, and you framed it like you were actually doing research for them, they're going to feel bad not showing up. Just want to double check that 3 p.m. still works with you this afternoon, and get that commitment. And again, make them feel like you're putting in time and energy into actually preparing for the call. But if you can do this, just getting this commitment the morning of or the night before, I usually call the night before. If they don't pick up, I'll call the morning of. If you can get that commitment, the show rate is going to be extremely high, but this is the lowest leverage thing you can do, so you need to be doing this at the minimum. Now, after that, if you don't get a response from them, after doing all of this, they don't pick up either of the phone calls, you just need to hear from them either way. So if you still don't hear from them at all before your call or any of the stuff you sent before, send them this message. You want to be super direct, super straight to the point. You don't want to waste your time. So, hey, John, does 3 p.m. not work for you, or do you need to reschedule? I haven't heard anything, so I'm planning to cancel our call. Please let me know as soon as possible. You can even add something in there like, hey, let me know so I can move my calls around if it doesn't work, so I can move some other calls up. Something like that, though, where you're not lowering your status by like begging them to show up. You're basically saying, hey, if this doesn't work, just let me know so like I don't waste my time and I can move my schedule around. And you just make it seem like this. Keep the frame, keep your authority, but make sure that if you don't hear from them, that you're making sure you keep texting, keep calling them until you do hear from them. Because remember, they were the one that booked with you. Yeah, you called them, but they said they were interested. You got the commitment from them multiple times, especially they have it on their calendar. So at this point, like you just need to hear from them one way or another. It's very rare that if you don't hear from them, they're going to show up, even if they have it on their calendar. I've had it happen sometimes, but you 100% just need to keep calling them as many times as possible. Now, a quick hack though, if you don't hear from them, have multiple phone numbers. So have like phone number 1, phone number phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3. You're going to call them the night before and the morning of from this number. And if they don't pick up either of those, you call them from number 2 and number 3. Ideally, the numbers are local to them. But if they're just like not picking up their phone in general, maybe they're dead. Maybe you should call an ambulance for them. Who knows? That's kind of scary. But their odds are that they pick these up are so much higher if you call them from a wrong number. Because if they know it's you and they just see the same number calling them, they're like, okay, block. I'm not going to show up to the call. He's too needy. But if you call in just a different number, odds they pick up are extremely higher. And then you can just go and cut right through the noise. If they tell you, yeah, I'm not going to show up, then okay, then you don't waste your time on the call. You can cancel their call and go do some outreach or move another call around. You know what I mean? But you just need to hear from them either way. So I recommend having just multiple numbers. And then basically the last 2 is following up with no-shows. So just because they don't show up on the call doesn't mean they're not interested all the time. A lot of time it does, but you just don't want to burn the lead. So send out a message, something like this. So, hey, John, I never heard from you or saw you on our call. Are you not interested anymore, or did you want to reschedule? Just being like super straight to the point and just trying to get a response from them. If they say, yeah, I want to reschedule, then awesome, you reschedule, you go take a call with them. Or if they say no, then okay, then you can just take them off and stop wasting your time with them. But you just want to make sure, again, you don't burn the lead, you give them the benefit of the doubt, and that you're just making sure you're maximizing every lead you have. And then finally, the last part of it, and this is after all that, is just making sure you're tracking all the data. So you're going to go to your tracking sheet, and basically this is what you do every day. Get in the habit of doing this. I do it just every morning. You're going to track the day before. So let's say you had 5 calls in your calendar. You call all the prospects the morning of. This is basically just making sure that you called them actually the morning of to confirm. Let's say one of them rescheduled or canceled. So you took 4 calls. There was 3 of them that are qualified, you closed 1, you collected $3,000, right? But then it also tracks all these metrics. So you can see your exact show rate. And after a while, you'll be able to see, okay, I tried doing this and my show rate decreased a bit. So let me go back to what I was doing before. But just making sure you're tracking all your numbers. And this isn't even just for show rate. You should be tracking this for your outreach, for like literally everything in your agency. But also, again, if you want this exact sheet and this Miro board, just DM me on Instagram if you have any questions. But just to recap again, this entire masterclass, all it comes down to though is basically if you take one thing away or 2 things, it's how you frame the call, making sure you're booking as soon as possible to the time you speak with them, and then also getting that double commitment, having them add it to their calendar, do all these things. This is the most important part right here. And then after you book the call, if you take away one thing, call them the night before or the morning of, just make sure that you hear from them one way or another, ideally on the phone. Get that double commitment from them. But if you do all that, I guarantee you can go double, triple your show rate literally overnight if you start implementing this. Again, have any questions, let me know, comment them below. Other than that, check the video out on the screen and I will see you there.